first volume of the journal has made recommendations for Namibia to adhere to its gender mainstreaming commitments and invest in the creation of gender-separated data on housing access, ownership, and control. The journal said this is the responsibility of government agencies, research organizations, and academic institutions. The editor of the journal, Professor Lucy Edwards Yao, says access to adequate housing is a serious human right and gender justice issue.
And I was particularly drawn to a story that recently appeared in the newspapers about Maria Govases, who actually lost her two children, toddler kids, Victoria and Johannes, on the 22nd of April, because the shack they were living in burnt down and the kids just perished with that. And these are the stories that make this venture about attaining adequate housing for all and inclusive housing policies much, much more urgent, because it's not just about the right to housing, but also the right to life.
Lack of adequate housing affects multiple constitutional and human rights, including the right to equality, non-discrimination, dignity, health, decent life, safety, and security. Gender-blind approaches have also been pointed out as failing to make women's struggle for adequate housing visible. An intersectional approach to housing, the journal said, will enable the identification of multiple forms of exclusion from housing that could create the appropriate policy responses.
Although there are scores of people who are either homeless or live under conditions of squalor, a large portion of Namibia's housing stock remain unoccupied because the market mechanism is inefficient. It does not necessarily deliver housing to those who need it, but rather to those who can afford it. They also call for a redistributive housing model and call on the Namibian government to institute a national housing bank that can avail credit, as well as the call for the creation of an applied economic research institute to look into the questions of access to drinking water, sanitation.
The journal also recommended for the creation of gender-separated data to ensure gender analysis that can identify women's practical and strategic needs. Timo Andreas, NBC News, Windhoek.